Hey guys, welcome to Under the Arch Sports. I'm Eric, and today we're going to talk about SLU basketball and their chances of making the NCAA Tournament. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on Facebook and on Instagram. Before we get into it, I want to take a minute to acknowledge the fact that Johnny, who has been kind of our SLU expert, he has decided to step away from Under the Arch. He's got some new business stuff going on, and that's taken up a lot of his time. Remember, we're not professionals, we're doing this for fun. So he's stepped away. So congrats to him on his new business stuff, and good luck to him, and thanks for the videos and work that he put in. Now, SLU basketball. They are 11-3, which is a strong record. It's not a record that has a good strength of record, which is basically how good are your wins, how good are your losses. And that is a factor that the NCAA selection committee will look at. Also, has SLU played enough games? It's going to be kind of like Ohio State with college football. No one doubted that they were good enough to make the playoff. It was just a matter of had they played enough games to deserve consideration. Same deal for SLU. I feel like most people are going to acknowledge that SLU is good enough to merit an at-large berth if they play enough games. And there's going to be people who don't think that they've played enough. The good example of that is looking at Bracketology. Jerry Palm of CBS Sports has SLU right now as an 8 seed in his projections. Not a lock, but comfortably in right now. Meanwhile, you look over at ESPN, Joe Lunardi does not have SLU in the tournament. For most of the teams, there's not really any variation. A lot of times it's the same, 1 seed off. 2 seeds off is a bit of a stretch. As an example, Mizzou's a 5 seed in both Lunardi and Palm's bracketologies. That tells me Joe Lunardi doesn't think SLU's played enough games. Maybe if they get the final 4 games in that are scheduled, maybe that'll be enough. And after one of these updates, SLU will take someone's spot. Who knows? What else is the selection committee going to look at besides record? Well, they're going to look at the NET. And the NET is pretty friendly to SLU. They're number 32. If you were straight down in order, they'd be the last 8 seed, kind of in line with Jerry Palm's projection. Within that, they break down the schedule into your quad 1, 2, 3, and 4 games. What hurts SLU is that of their 14 games, 6 of them are quad 4 games. That is the lowest bracket. Now, within the final 4, the final 4 games for SLU, there's opportunity. Only 3 of SLU's games are quad 1 or 2 games, and they're 2-1 in those games. Friday night's game at Dayton, that is a quad 2 game. So that would be, statistically, their second or third best win on the season. After that, SLU is going to go to VCU. That is a huge game. VCU is number 31 in the NET rankings, 1 spot above SLU. They are also at the top of the Atlantic 10 standings. So what that means is it's an opportunity. If SLU were to go to VCU and get themselves a win, especially if they were to beat Dayton first, that'd be a quad 2 win, followed by a quad 1 win. They would be 2-1 in the quad 1, 2-0 quad 2. They'd be sitting at 13-3 and a 6-2 record in their conference. That's tough to leave out of the NCAA tournament. That you follow that up, the 2 final games are home games against Richmond and against George Mason. Neither one are, must-see in terms of marquee opponents. Really, I would argue SLU probably needs to win both of those games. But the biggest thing for SLU is getting games in. If they have all 4 of these games as scheduled, that would be 18 games. In a season where everyone has COVID layoffs, I think the NCAA committee would be I think it'd be pretty tough to leave SLU out. Especially when you look at the losses they've had. You know, they lost against Dayton by 5 points. And it was their first game after more than a month of a COVID layoff. Come on, that's tough. You know, and then another game, the Richmond game, was canceled, and then they played LaSalle. And LaSalle's garbage, but they lost. Well, it was a road game, so there is that. And the fact that their most recent game, they absolutely destroyed LaSalle, and they avenged that loss. So, in terms of the resume, it cancels out that loss to an extent. Long story short, I think SLU, if they can go 3-1 in their final 4 games of the regular season, and the loss would be Dayton or VCU, and it's not a blowout, I think they're going to be fine. I think they'll be in the tournament as, if I had to guess, I'd say a 9 or a 10. I think they might get punished for not playing as many games, but not excluded. Yeah, it's a bit of a crapshoot, but that's my guess. I think SLU fans, as much as anything, need to be hoping for games to get played and no more COVID cancellations. Because now, it's going to be too late to start rescheduling too many more games. We don't even know how many are going to get rescheduled that were already postponed. So that's what SLU needs to hope for, is get games in, get as many wins as possible, but more importantly, play the games. What do you think? Is SLU going to make the tournament? What is it going to take for them to make the tournament if you don't think they're in? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.